Shalom, my friends. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. I am not here to lecture you about buying a cup of coffee. I am not here to tell you to clip coupons or buy generic peanut butter. If you love your morning latte, if it brings you joy, if it fits into your budget, then by all means enjoy it. That is not what this conversation is about. What I want to talk about today are the silent killers, the invisible drains, the things that are quietly stealing your wealth without you even noticing. These are the expenses that seem normal, that seem responsible, that everyone around you is doing. But over the course of your lifetime, they could cost you not thousands, not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. And the tragedy is, most people never realize it until it's too late. I have spent 3 decades studying wealth, both in the ancient texts of our tradition and in the modern world of finance. And I can tell you this: the difference between the wealthy and the struggling is not how much they earn, it is how much they keep. It is knowing where their money is going and having the discipline to stop the leaks. Today I am going to share with you 20 things that I believe are a complete waste of your money. Some of these will make you uncomfortable. Some of them you might be doing right now. That's okay. Discomfort is the beginning of change. So let's begin. Number 1. Buying a car based on monthly payments. This is one of the most common and most devastating financial mistakes people make. You walk into a dealership and the salesman asks, "What's your monthly budget?" And you think, "Well, I can afford $500 a month." So you say $500. And the salesman smiles because he knows he's got you. He's not going to sell you a car that costs $500 a month. He's going to stretch the loan to 6 years, 7 years, even 8 years. He's going to add in extended warranties, gap insurance, paint protection, all these add-ons that you don't need. And by the time you drive off the lot, you have paid thousands of dollars more than you should have, and you are locked into a payment plan that will more. And for the first 2 weeks, you used it every day. But then, life got busy. And now, 3 months later, it's sitting in the corner of your bedroom, collecting dust, holding your laundry. Here is the truth. Expensive equipment does not create consistency. Habits do. In our tradition, we have a concept called keva, which means regularity, routine, discipline. You don't need a $3,000 machine to build a habit. You need a commitment. Start with a walk every morning. Do bodyweight exercises. Join a gym that you will actually go to. And only after you have proven to yourself that you are consistent, only then should you invest in expensive equipment. Number 3. Constantly buying new supplements, skincare, or grooming products. Every week, there is a new miracle product, a new serum that will make you look 10 years younger, a new supplement that will give you energy, focus, clarity. And you buy it, thinking, this is the one, this is the answer. But it never is, because the problem is not that you haven't found the right product. The problem is that you are chasing a fantasy instead of committing to a system. The Torah teaches us, Im ein kemach, ein Torah. If there is no flour, there is no Torah. This means that you must take care of the basics before you chase the extras. The basics of health are simple. Eat real food, move your body, sleep well, manage your stress. If you are not doing these things, no supplement or serum is going to save you. Pick one product. Commit to it for 30 days. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, move on. Stop chasing miracles and start building systems. Number 4. Extended warranties on electronics and appliances. The salesman says, For just $200 more, you can protect your purchase for 3 years. And it sounds responsible. It sounds smart. But here is the reality. Extended warranties are a scam. Statistically, most electronics do not break within the warranty period, and even if they do, the cost of repair is usually less than what you paid for the warranty. The companies that sell the solution get clear on your values. Identify the specific areas where spending money brings you the most joy and focus your spending there. Everything else cut ruthlessly. This is the principle of intentionality. Every dollar you spend should be a conscious choice, not a reflex. Number 6. Luxuries disguised as investments. This one is painful, but we need to talk about it. You buy a $2,000 mattress and you say, it's an investment in my health. You buy a $700 blender and you say, it's an investment in my nutrition. You build a $10,000 deck and you say, it's an investment in my home. No, it's not. These are luxuries. And that's okay, but stop lying to yourself. An investment is something that has the potential to produce a financial return. A mattress does not. A blender does not. A deck does not. They might improve your quality of life, and that is valuable, but they are not investments. The reason we do this is because we feel guilty about spending money on luxuries, so we rationalize it by calling it an investment. But the truth is, it's okay to spend money on luxuries. You just have to be honest about it and make sure it fits into your budget. Number 7. Buying cheap now, promising to upgrade later. You tell yourself, I'll just get the cheap version for now, and I'll upgrade when I have more money. But what actually happens is you buy the cheap version, it breaks or it doesn't work the way you want, so you buy another cheap version, and then another. And by the time you finally buy the good version, you have spent 3 times as much as you would have if you had just bought the good version in the first place. There is a teaching in Pirkei Avot, Kol Hachalot Kashot. All beginnings are difficult. Sometimes the right move is to save up and buy the best version you can afford, even if it takes longer. One high-quality item that you love and use for years is cheaper than 3 low-quality items that you regret. Number 8. Subscriptions you keep just in case. You signed up for a streaming service 6 months ago. You haven't watched it in 4 months, but you keep paying for it. They make $65,000 a year, and they are driving a $90,000 truck. They justify it by saying, I need it to haul things, or I need it to tow my RV. But when you dig deeper, they use it to haul things maybe twice a year. And they bought a recreational RV, which means they spent $50,000 on a truck to tow a toy. This is not a financial strategy. This is an emotional decision disguised as a practical one. And the way they decided how much truck they could afford? Monthly payments. This is a trap. Here is the right way to do it. Get clear on your needs before you make a big purchase. If you truly need a truck for work, and it fits into your budget, great. But if you are buying it for status, for ego, for the feeling of being rugged, then you are wasting your money. Number 10. Emotional spending disguised as self-care. You had a rough week. You are stressed. You say, I deserve this. So you go get a $180 massage, or a $200 brunch, or a $500 shopping spree, and you put it on your credit card. Now, self-care is important, but if you can't afford it, it's not self-care. It's stress spending, and it creates a vicious cycle. You spend money to feel better, but then you feel worse because now you have more debt. Here is the solution. Define your real version of self-care and build it into your budget. If a massage is important to you, set aside money for it every month. That way, when you go, you can truly enjoy it without guilt, without stress, without adding to your debt. Number 11. Complicated or cult-like investments. Crypto, infinite banking, whole life insurance, tax shelters. These strategies sound complicated, and they are, on purpose, because people can sell complexity. It's much harder to sell simplicity. But here is the truth. Complexity is not a strategy. It's a distraction. The fundamentals are what matter. Low-cost index funds, automated investing, consistent contributions. That's it. Times you actually watch the sunrise from that deck? 0. You are not buying the deck. You are buying the fantasy of a better version of yourself. And that fantasy is expensive. Here is the move. Get honest with yourself. Do you already have what you need to take the action you want? If you want to watch the sunrise, go outside. Sit on the ground. Bring a pillow. You don't need a $15,000 deck to experience beauty. Number 14. Treating your primary residence as an investment. Buying a house is probably the biggest financial decision of your life, but that does not make it a good investment. Between mortgage interest, property taxes, maintenance, closing costs, and all the other hidden expenses, your house might be a great place to live, but it is often a worse investment than you think. I have rented for over 20 years, and I have made far more money renting and investing the difference than I would have made by owning. So here is what I recommend. Run the numbers. Be honest with yourself. Are you buying this house because it fits your life, or because someone told you that renting is throwing money away? If you are buying for lifestyle, great, but run the numbers first. Number 15. Paying a financial advisor a percentage of your assets. Many financial advisors charge 1% of your assets under management. It sounds harmless, but over the course of your lifetime, that 1% fee will consume approximately 28% of your total returns. That could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have been price-comparing Ritz crackers while hundreds of thousands of dollars are being siphoned away, and you didn't even know it. Here is what you do instead. Learn the basics of investing. Use low-cost index funds. Automate your contributions. And if you need personalized advice, pay an advisor by the hour, not a lifetime commission on your net worth. Number 16. Home renovations you assume will pay off. Most renovations do not pay for themselves. They are not investments. They are luxuries, and that's okay. But stop lying to yourself. If you confusion. For insurance, stick to term life insurance. It's simple, affordable, and it protects your loved ones. That's all you need. Number 19. Online courses or conferences that you don't implement. You signed up with the best intentions. You watched a few modules, but now the course is collecting digital dust, and your credit card balance is still there. Buying education is not the same as taking action. Finish what you already paid for. Prove that you can follow through on free resources before you buy premium ones. Number 20. Status credit cards or airline loyalty programs when you don't use the benefits. If you are not actually using the lounge access, the travel credits, the concierge service, then that $500 annual fee is just an expensive ego boost. Audit your benefits once a year. If you are not using them, downgrade to a no-fee card. So there you have it, my friends. 20 things that are a complete waste of your money. Some of these you are probably doing right now, and that's okay. Awareness is the first step. Now you know. Now you can change. Here is your challenge. Pick 3 things from this list that you are currently doing and commit to stopping them this month. Cancel the subscriptions you don't use. Stop buying things on impulse. Pay off your credit card in full. Take the money you save and invest it. Watch your wealth grow. Remember the words of our sages. Who is rich? He who is satisfied with his portion. Stop chasing. Stop wasting. Stop pretending. Be intentional. Be disciplined. Be free. Shalom. And may you have the wisdom to see where your money is going and the courage to redirect it toward the life you truly want. Let me share with you one final teaching, a story that brings all of this together and shows you why these 20 things matter so much. There was a young man in our community. Let's call him David. David was 28 years old, making $75,000 a year at a tech company. Good salary, stable job, bright future. But David had a problem. Despite earning a good income, he was always broke. Every month he would look at his bank account and membership he hadn't used in 4 months. That was another $250 a month, or $3,000 a year. He had bought 3 online courses in the past year, totaling $1,500, and he hadn't finished a single one of them. He was carrying an $8,000 balance on his credit card, paying 24% interest, because he kept using the card for the points. That was costing him almost $2,000 a year in interest alone. And every time he had a stressful week at work, which was often, he would go out for an expensive dinner or buy something online to make himself feel better. He called it self-care. But it was really just emotional spending. That was adding up to about $400 a month, or $4,800 a year. When we added it all up, David was wasting over $20,000 a year. $20,000! On a $75,000 salary, that's more than a quarter of his income, just disappearing into the void. I looked at David and I said, "Do you know what you could do with $20,000 a year?" He shook his head. So I showed him. If David stopped wasting that $20,000 and instead invested it in a simple index fund, and if he did that every year for the next 30 years, and if the market returned its historical average of 10% per year, he would have $3.6 million by the time he was 58 years old. $3.6 million. Enough to retire early, to travel the world, to never worry about money again. But instead, he was spending it on a truck he didn't use, a Peloton he didn't ride, subscriptions he didn't watch, courses he didn't finish, and emotional purchases that brought him a few minutes of pleasure, followed by months of regret. David sat there in silence for a long time. And then he said, "Rabbi, I feel like I've been asleep. I've been sleepwalking through my financial life. I had no idea." That conversation changed David's life. He sold the truck and bought a used sedan. He sold the Peloton and started going for runs in the park. He cancelled all but 2 of his subscription. Control. It's about having the freedom to live life on your terms. And that freedom comes not from earning more, though that helps, but from wasting less. In the Torah, there is a commandment, Bal tashchit, do not waste. This commandment originally referred to not destroying fruit trees during a siege, but our sages expanded it to mean that we should not waste anything of value, not food, not resources, not time, and certainly not money. Because every dollar you waste is a dollar that could have been used to build your future, to support your family, to give to those in need, to create the life you truly want. So I ask you, my friends, how much are you wasting? How much of your hard-earned money is disappearing into trucks you don't need, equipment you don't use, subscriptions you don't watch, courses you don't finish, and emotional purchases you regret? How much wealthier, how much freer, how much more at peace would you be if you stopped the leaks? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to cut out every single expense. But if you can identify just 3 or 4 of these 20 things and eliminate them from your life, you will be shocked at how much money you suddenly have. And if you take that money and invest it, you will be even more shocked at how quickly your wealth grows. This is not about deprivation. This is not about living a joyless, miserly life. This is about intentionality. This is about making sure that every dollar you spend is bringing you closer to the life you want, not further away from it. This is about being awake, being aware, being in control. So here is my final challenge to you. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to do what David did. I want you to pull up your bank statements and your credit card statements for the past 3 months. And I want you to go through them, line by line, and ask yourself, is this expense bringing me closer to my rich life, or is it a waste? Be honest. Be ruthless. And then, make a plan to eliminate the waste. And as you do this, remember the